All right, let's see what's going on now. If it's any better, I hope it might be somewhat better. Okay, at least I get a chance to tag friends. Let me see what I can do about that. How's everybody this evening? Like I said, it's been a somewhat of a stressful day today, a distressing day. Uh, Anytime that we lose people to tragedies, it's just not easy. But every day we endure these things. Okay, hang on just a second while I let a few folks know to get online right quick. Okay, hang on. Tagging some folks. While I'm tagging some folks, listen, y'all please tag other people yourselves. Share this out. Let folks know that there's an important message that's going to be talked about tonight here, and I really would hope that as many people as possible would take time out to watch and listen. And as I wrote in the little meme that I put up on my social media pages, maybe if there's something that you hear that makes sense, then roll with it. Roll with it. It's all right. It's okay. Um, Tonight I'm going to be talking about why I'm a Democrat, and I am a Democrat. And I'm going to be talking about why I support Dems, why I rock with Dems, as they say. You know, to you be your way and to me be mine. I'm just going to share mine tonight. And that's the glory of this great nation that we live in, not that nation that they're trying to turn it further into, but the nation as it's supposed to be is that we should be able to think differently and believe differently without it causing differences. Okay? We should be able to respect one another simply because we're all human and we're all made differently. Okay, let me check off a couple of more people and then come back and see just where we're at. Okay, I think I skipped who I was supposed to skip for the night. Okay. Alrighty, let's go with that. Okay. Alrighty, good. Sounds good to me. Okay. Hey, there's folks there. Good to see y'all. All right. Good people in the house. Excellent. Excellent. Somebody give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Hey, Robin, how you doing? Let me know that I've got some good audio and video. Hopefully all is well. I know I started off a little bit shaky, but hopefully all is well now, and we're going to rock and roll through this message tonight. Greetings, Lori. LJ in the house. Well, you keep doing what you're doing. I see you. I see you. For sure. Making big moves. I'll be watching, you, Twan, Chef, everybody. Troy. I was with Troy last night for sure. Yeah. Keisha, how you doing? Once again, I just cannot thank you so much, enough for the work that you did with the campaign. Thank you so very much. Especially in the 11th hour, as they say. But just amazing as always. Felicia, what's going on? Geechee One Magazine, Geechee One Films, Big Geechee One Enterprises. Man, you're doing big things. Keep doing it. Keep doing your thing. Professor Damon Fordham, my brother. Good to see you. Claire and Jennifer and Tyree and who else on here? Some more folks. Yeah. Sean, what's going on? Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Damon. It's really sad that we live in a time when you really have to explain your choices to others, and they don't understand that you don't necessarily have to think as they do. But that's all right. It's a learning process, and that's why I do what I do, because we are in an age of education. There are a lot of people who talk about Scripture who don't really apply it or believe in it when it says that we perish because of lack of knowledge. And the problem being that there's so much knowledge, which a lot of it is not knowledge, it's actually foolishness that's being put out. So in order to make sure that all sides are heard, I'm just offering different perspectives of different things. I'm not judgmental of those who don't agree with me. Period. Everybody's entitled to believe the way that they do, as long as it doesn't harm other people. Now Now, I get a little bit upset or a little irate in my presentation when I know that there are people that are going to be negatively impacted by the thoughts, actions, and deeds of others. I have a problem with that, and that's what I speak about. But do I respect their right to think the way that they do? Absolutely, absolutely. And just because they think differently, even when it's something that's hurting them, that doesn't. Well, I can't say that. I can't. I was going to say it doesn't make us enemies, but I don't know. When people do stuff to harm other people, I got a problem with that. Today was a very, very stressful day as far as the situation with Kobe Bryant and his daughter and the other three who perished in the helicopter crash earlier today. Man, life is short, people. Life is short. It's precious, and that's why broadcasts like this are so important, because hopefully they will bridge the gap. You'll have enough information to make an informed decision on where you stand, not based on something that's one-sided or something like that. Ashley and Sean, good to see you. Heaven, good to see you. Monet, Nicole, good to see you. So many folks getting on. Thank you all so much. Putting what's going on. All righty, Teresa. Yeah, Elvin, what's happening, my brother? All power to the people. Karen, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for all your service in North Charleston and beyond. I really do love all of you. That's for sure. That's for sure. Let's see something here. Let's see. Was this another helicopter crash, Elvin, where it says 9 people died in a helicopter crash? I heard earlier with the crash with Kobe that there were 5 people. That there was him, his daughter, his 13-year-old daughter, the coach from the college, a college coach, and 2 more people, probably a pilot and somebody else. Teresa, what's going on? Miss B, what's going on? Joe, how you doing? All right, all right. At least that's what I heard. I'm going to give it a couple of more minutes for folks to get on. Then we're going to jump right into this thing. I think I gave a little warning earlier today that it might go a little long tonight, but not very long, okay? I know folks might want to get back to the Grammys or whatever, but and I try to be respectful of people's times. But this is it's kind of crucial. It's kind of crucial. Tonight we're going to talk. What's going on? All right, brother. Papa Smurf, what's happening? Man, I hated to leave last night. Man, what a wonderful celebration for the 90-year-old man. Boy, she doing it for sure. She is an inspiration to me. When I think about I'm tired or something like that, no. I look at this 90-year-old young woman doing her thing, getting her dance on for sure, getting her praise on for sure. And it was an honor and a privilege to once again be invited by the family to stand with them. Yeah, so tragic. Yeah. Oh, they changed it to 9. Wow. Thanks, Teresa. Wow. Let's keep them lifted in prayer. But by that same token, we also need to keep lifted up in prayer the 100 people that are killed each day in the United States by gun violence. We also need to keep in prayer those who have to make a decision on whether to go to the emergency room or put food on the table. We need to keep in prayer, our children, because they go to schools that are not educating them, and many of the schools that they're attending, they're not educating them by design, So we need to keep this nation in prayer, and that's one of the reasons why I'm on tonight. So let's, like the dude on the judge say, let's get into the legal sauce of this. Let's get into the sauce, okay? Keeping in mind that I'll say it at the end again. Please, pray for those who lost loved ones today. That's a big that's a big loss. Kobe represented a whole lot to a whole lot of people. Hope, and aspirations, acquired dreams, things of that sort. And it's my understanding that he was definitely stepping into the entrepreneurial area in the technological field, and was getting ready to broaden his horizons in that area. So that just tells us how precious life is and how we must value every minute that we have, because the next minute is not promised to anyone. Chandelia all the way up out on the West Coast for sure. Aisha, good to see you. Aaron, what's happening, brother? Uplift out in the streets today, I'm sure. Jerome, what's happening? Yeah. Vivian, how you doing? Alrighty, alrighty. Yeah. Uh, man, been a long time since the USS Mayhem, huh? Still rocking and rolling though, for sure. So let's get into this, okay? I wanted to do this tonight, because there's a lot of controversy and whatever, about, the Democrats and they do this or haven't done that and all this here, and there's never much conversation about the Republicans, but I had a choice myself like anybody. To either be, to rock with the Dems, rock with the Republicans, rock with the Green Party, rock with the Working Families Party, rock with the Libertarian Party or the American Families Party or all these other parties or any last one of them. But I opted to actually roll with the Democrats. It's not because I was raised a Democrat or anything like that. I've been growing a long time. I'm 67 years old. I make my own decisions up, okay? And my decision to rock with the Dems is based upon a few things that I know, especially about the other leading party. The first reason that I rock with the Dems is because the Dems have the numbers to win against Republicans, okay? That's one reason right there, okay? So in 2016, when I ran for U.S. Senate against Tim Scott, I was actually a fusion candidate. So I ran as both a Democrat, which was my primary party because that's the big number party also. But I also ran as a representative for the Green Party and also the Working Families Party. Why? Because I represent the same value systems that they support. I didn't solicit them. I didn't go look for them. They came to me. They said, will you also run as a Green or as a Working Families Party representative? And I said, yes. So I ran as all three parties, okay? The one party, the parties I knew I wasn't going to run as, I was not going to run as a Republican, because I'm not. Because we just don't represent the same thing. We don't believe in the same thing. I was not going to run as a Libertarian or the American Family Party or whatever. I forget the name of it, okay? Yeah, Miss B, I'll call you as soon as I'm finished. If you're at the hospital with your brother, he just got, okay, I'll definitely give you a call, okay? But if you need me in the midst of this, make sure you call me, okay? No matter what. People first. People first. But I ran, okay, as a Democrat, as a Libertarian, as a Green Party candidate and as a Working Families Party candidate. Because the other side just does not fit where my heart is at. Many of y'all know my heart. Y'all have seen the work that I've done out in the community, how I live to help and to support the people in the community. That's not what I saw within the Republican Party, and that's why when it came to choosing what party I wanted to roll with, I chose to roll with the Dems. In 16, also with the Working Family Party and also with the Green Party in 2016. My primary party of choice is the Dems. Why? Because it's a big tent party with a lot with the only amount of pull to defeat Republicans, okay? The only amount of pull to defeat Republicans. And the Democrats overall represent the same value system that I represent. Has it always been sweet for me, peachy keen with the Dems? No. 2016 was a rough road with the South Carolina Democratic Party. I'm going to tell you straight up. When I first announced, okay, I'm not being the party guy or a status quo candidate or somebody that came up through the ranks or whatever, just popped up out of the blue and ran against Tim Scott, because first off, nobody in the state had been vetted to run against Tim Scott, and had I not done, he would have done so. He would have run without a challenger. What's up, Kevin? He would have run unopposed, just waltzed right on in. So I said, no, I ain't gonna let the activists in me would not let that happen. So I ran. But the state party leadership, and I specify leadership, they didn't accept that too well. And there was one person at that time named Jason Perkey who actually did an interview with the Post and Courier and said something to that effect. About that not having, a candidate in the state running for U.S. Senate, so, even though I had declared already. So the community here that's known me and known the body of work that I've put in over the ages, the community here called Jamie Harrison. He was the then chair of the South Carolina Democratic Party and say, you know what? First off, you don't know Pastor Dixon, because he didn't. Second off, we need to meet with you so we can talk about Pastor Dixon before we go any further. And by God's grace, Jamie, Trav Robertson, who was the director of recruitment, I believe it was at that time, Jason Perkey, the one with the mouth, and I think maybe one more of the representatives. They met with about 40 of the community representatives at the ILA, who basically, and I just sat there, I didn't say anything, for an hour plus, sat there and told them about Pastor Dixon and the work that Pastor Dixon do, work that they didn't know about. And from that point on, even though in my eyesight that the participation, the support that I thought would have been there through the state party was not necessarily there in 2016, and definitely not with the DCCC, and definitely not with the DNC. The national party was not there. But still in all, once I filed the $10,000 it took in order to file for that election, which was a miracle for me because I'm on Social Security. I'm still on Social Security. For those folks that think I got money, I don't have money. My Social Security check is $800 a month, and I get a little bit of extra now because of disability that just started a little over a year ago. So, was able to raise that $10,000 and file 2 days before the deadline to file for that seat. And from that point on, the blessing that I had, because I didn't really get that knowledge shared with me, because I had no experience, I had no staff, or the people that were with me didn't have any experience, very little knowledge on moving forth. And that's all that I asked from the party was, hey, walk me through this thing. Help me to get it done, because I don't really know about this, But I am, the only candidate, this was after the filing, the only candidate that's running against Tim Scott. I'm an African American that's running against another African American for U.S. Senate in South Carolina. And I got a track record of championing the issues that were important in the social justice area, issues that Bernie Sanders at that particular time was just bringing forward. I had been on the ground pushing for. I had been with the Fight for 15. I had been for universal health care and expanding Medicaid. I had been talking about public education. I had been talking about ending gun violence. I had been doing all those things before 2016 even hit. And so the platform was there, and all I asked was that they just help show me how to make it happen. Show me how to, and I didn't really get that from the state leadership. Okay, the blessing inside of all of that came from the different county parties that I visited. Greatest people I've ever met in my life. Other Democrats who understood the need for quality health care, quality public education, ending gun violence, making sure we had clean air and clean water, making sure people were getting paid right and that we have a right to organize and have labor rights. People who understood that women's rights are right, and LGBTQ people have a right to be who they are. And I met these people all across the state, Democrats and Greens and Working Family Parties members, but by the largest majority, Democrats who represented exactly what I stand for and what I fight for. You see? And that's one of the reasons why I am a Dem, because they believe in what I believe in, for sure. And we can talk about all that history and blah, 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 blah. But, there are those who will tell me, well, they treated you bad. They treated you bad. They didn't do you right. Well, I want y'all to understand Pastor Dixon in my heart. My work is not contingent on how people treat me. Because if it did, I'd quit, fight people, and probably go to jail. Because I done been wronged by some of the best out here. But you see, I don't deal with people according to quid pro quo. If you do this for me, then I'll do that for you. I don't deal with people that way. I don't deal with people in that tit for tat thing. What I deal with is what's best for the people. No matter when people misuse me, I'm still going to toe the line about what's best for the people. Let's take a look in the mayoral election. And I'm gonna drop some names out here. I ain't mad. If they can give me a call, it's cool. I ain't mad at them because I'm still going to support them too. When we look at the mayoral campaign just this last year, right, that I announced in 2017, same people who I've supported along the Dems that I've supported over the years. Yes, yes. I've definitely stood up, campaigned, dropped signs out, and spoken on behalf of and everything. Those same Dems did not support me in that election, in the mayoral election. But like I said, I'm not into that quid pro quo because I've done this for you. You got to do it back for me. Yes, it's a hurtful thing, but that's all right. It's about the people for me. And when I say the Democratic legislators, I'm talking about people like Marlon Kempson. I'm talking about Marvin Pendarvis, who at least I think Marvin tried to do something by saying, "Well, Pastor, would you meet us for this press conference and you stand up front with us, okay?" But never publicly came out and said, "I'm with Dixon for mayor," okay? J.A. Moore, nope, nada. And there's so many more. State Representative Gilliard, man, love you, man, but he never came out and said, "Man, Dixon's the man for mayor," for sure. The only ones that really did that was one, Crystal Simmons, Crystal Matthews, excuse me. Oh boy, I'm gonna catch it now. Crystal Matthews, my representative actually. She was the only person that stood up, only state representative that stood up and said, "I'm with Dixon. Dixon is the best candidate for this office." Now, I don't know. And she was the one I did the less work on behalf of the campaign, for sure. And then Jamie Harrison, who's running for U.S. Senate right now against Lindsey Graham. We must get registered and get ready to vote. You only got a couple of more days to register for the primary for the other folks, but for the Senate race that he's in, we got to get you registered and make sure we get people to the vote to the polls in November to vote Lindsey Graham slap out of here. Send Lindsey on his way. Let him move to Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump or something like that. He needs to actually leave South Carolina. We need people in office with a backbone, straight up. But Jamie Harrison stood with me from the jump. The same person that had issues in 2016 because he didn't know me now knows me, and he stood with me from the jump because he knows the quality of person I am and how I fight for the issues that directly affect the people. He knows it, okay? So aside from that, I had one state representative who literally told me he could not support me, and because of, I guess, family ties or something like that, which I don't understand that, but I at least I respect it because he came to me and said so. The rest of them never said a word, not a word, But once again, that quid pro quo, I don't do things, expecting something in return. So when I stood with them, it's not because of that, because of that. So. Another thing on the presidential election, out of all those presidential campaigns, right, out of all of them who understood that I was running in a city that had a 25-year Republican mayor who was allowed the brown, black, and poor people of his city to suffer under his administration, a Donald Trump supporter who endorsed Donald Trump before the primary in 2016, out of all of those presidential candidates, nobody stepped forward with the exception of one, and that was Tom Steyer. Tom Steyer's camp did. And that was specifically because of Millicent Middleton off of Johns Island, South Carolina here, who said that's what we're going to do, and Brandon Upson, okay? Yeah, so I don't understand it, I don't. Either we're fighting this cause together or we're not. But back to the bottom line, though, with me, it's people first. I'm not going to be that offended by what people do to me I'm going to allow it to interfere with what I'd have to do for the people. So as those people move on, they can expect for my support to be there. They can expect my support to be there. Have I been wrong? They make the call. I'll let them make the call. Let them make the call. But the bottom line is I'm going to support those who I feel are best for the people, whether they've done me some wrong in the past or not. Okay? All right. Let's move on from that part. it's a shame when we look at all the issues, the things that I've talked about. Okay, the issues that affect people directly: gun violence, pay, union rights, labor rights, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, environment, education, healthcare, all of these things. When we look at them in South Carolina, all of the things that we should be first in, we're last in, and all the things we should be last in, we're first in. That's crazy, and it's crazy because when we stop and we look at South Carolina, our General Assembly, those who actually are charged, our lawmakers that are charged with making the laws here, we have a 2/3 majority Republican General Assembly in the House and in the Senate. Okay, there's the two houses in the General Assembly. The upper house is is the South Carolina Senate. The lower house is the South Carolina House of Representatives. And 2/3 of those that sit in there, 170 seats, 2/3 of those, 107 of them are Republicans. So basically, if you got 2 votes to 1 vote in any vote, the folks that have the majority, they're going to win, right? So all of these issues where we're last in the nation, where we should be first in, and all these issues where we're first, where we should be last in, such as our quality education, last in the nation, domestic violence and gun violence, at the top of the list in the nation. Our health care and poverty, top of the list in the nation. Okay, all of these areas where the people should be taken care of, they're not being taken care of. We're not being taken care of because every time that a law goes to be passed or run through the General Assembly, it gets shot down. And it's shot down by this 2/3 majority Republican General Assembly. You want to know why I won't rock with the Republicans? Because they don't do nothing to help the people. And guess who's filing these bills that they shoot down? Or that they stick this little poison pill in order to water it down. Like, let's just take domestic violence. We know that we have a very bad domestic violence problem. Over 10 years, over a decade, we've been number 1 through 4 in the nation for domestic violence. And the Dems have put forth bills that have been extremely strong in order to fight against this domestic violence and make it a safe place for those who are being victimized by domestic violence. But the Republicans get it, right, in the House, or if it makes it out the House and into the Senate, or they have a companion bill in the Senate, the Republicans there start saying, well, add this in, and let's add that in, and let's talk about that, and let's pull this out and everything. And in the end, you got no strength. No strength for a bill that's going to protect those that are in battered syndrome situations. It's crazy. So, no, rock with them. Not me. Them not my kind of peoples. Okay, straight up. They might be your kind of peoples, but they not my kind of peoples. And I'll say to the advantage of the Dems, they're the ones that's putting this through. They're putting the bills through, but they're being blocked by these same darn Republicans. Man, the heck with the darn Republicans. 2/3 majority. And matter of fact, it's been a 2/3 majority in the South Carolina State House and General Assembly since the year 2000. This 2020. For 20 years, and you wonder why our state is in the condition that we're in right now. Don't wonder. Vote them out. And let's see about some change. That's it. But we're not going to do it listening to all this rhetoric talking about the Democrats this and the Democrats ain't did that and Democrats ain't did that. Democrats ain't did that. Well, let's talk about what the Republicans have done and haven't done. Okay, let's talk about them. They're the ones that's keeping us underfoot. They're the ones that keep us the new age slavery in place. Still have separate but equal facilities in here, steadily enacting laws that are really messing us up. Okay, as people. They're the ones, not the Dems. Okay? Yes, Jillian, past time for a change. That's right. That's right. It's crazy. It's 2/3 majority Republican Assembly. Won't fight for health care for all. Watered down bills that would reduce gun violence. They fight against strengthening our public education system. They won't break the cycle of poverty by paying living wages or repealing right to work and at-will firing laws or supporting the right to organize unions. These same Republican legislators deny women equal rights in the workplace and the right to choose what they do with their own bodies. They deny our LGBTQ brothers and sisters their rights to be who they are and to love who they want. They deny the science that proves climate change is real. But who does that? And they won't lift a finger to ensure clean water and clean air for all South Carolinians. And on top of that, and we got folks dying every day because of gun violence, they will not pass gun legislation that just might end or cut down or save somebody from dying by the end of a gun. Okay? They will fight. They'll fight tooth and nail to save an unborn child's life, but will not fight to save Ray Ray and Pookie and them's life on the block, will not fight to save kids' lives in school, will not fight to save Jews in the synagogues, Muslims in the mosques, our LGBT brothers and sisters, BTQ brothers and sisters in a club, concert goers, or they would not fight to save 9 Christians at a Bible study. So I ain't got time to play with y'all. I ain't got time to play with them. So all that rhetoric about the Democrats this and Democrats that, who have been trying to pass bills for all of those areas that will help people, every last one of those areas, every last one of them. Them same Republicans are the ones that are blocking these things from happening because it doesn't meet their agenda. Hell, after all of that, after what happened inside of Mother Emanuel, they won't even pass a hate crime bill. Representative Gilliard's got one on the table this year. The 3rd time he's tried, and before that, Representative Gilda Cobb Hunter from Orangeburg put one on the table. And they've blocked it ever since. The hate crime bill. You think I'm getting ready to rock with the Republicans and they would not, in the aftermath of Mother Emanuel, wouldn't even pass a hate crime bill? We one of 4 states in the United States that does not have a hate crime bill. Why? Because we have a 2/3 majority Republican General Assembly. Just that simple. Okay, there's another caveat that has to do with us because we ain't pressing them. Okay, they might be in office, but we ain't doing everything that we can do to make sure that they to make our voice heard. Power concedes nothing without demand. It never has and it never will. And as long as they have the power, without our demanding them do what we want to do, they're gonna do exactly what they want to do. Okay, within the limits of how much pushback we give them. We give them no pushback, they do everything they want. We give them pushback, they start retreating. And the greatest pushback is to vote them out. Flip the darn South Carolina General Assembly from 2/3 majority to 2/3 Democrat. And let's go to work. Let's go to work then. Okay? When we look at it, like I said, the General Assembly has been 2/3 majority Republican since 2000. And in 2000, something else happened, okay? That was the year that the Confederate battle flag was brought off the top of the State House. And through a concession, okay, a concession, the Dems in the General Assembly gave a concession and said, okay, we're going to let you all, they said, we'll remove it from the top of the State House because it's offensive, but we're going to put it on the grounds of the State House. So they erected it right in the middle of the darn State House grounds, right by the street and everything, this Confederate battle flag and everything. And that was in 2000 as a concession. My personal opinion, the Dems then should not have offered that concession. But the people were not standing there behind them to demand that concession not work. So we got that. We got stuck. And what happened? 2015, 15 years later, Mother Emanuel. 9 Christians killed by a man who was waving that battle flag, the Confederate battle flag, as his truth. Yep. And what they do? I don't know if any of you all watched the General Assembly proceedings as they tried to remove the battle flag to get that 2/3 majority, because part of the agreement in 2000 was that any monuments in the state of South Carolina cannot be removed without a 2/3 majority General Assembly vote. So who controls 2/3 majority? The Republicans. So they had to vote to remove the Confederate battle flag from the State House grounds in 2015 in the aftermath of Mother Emanuel. So a 2/3 majority of Republicans, guess where that vote was going to? If anybody sat up and watched the battles that they had in there, these ignorant Republicans standing there trying to defend this battle flag, talking about it wasn't a symbol of hatred, talking about it's their heritage and all that, when the reality was belief in that flag was one of the things that motivated Dylan Roof to go inside of that church and kill 9 black folks at a Bible study. And they stood there in the General Assembly, that 2/3 majority stood in that General Assembly and fought against removing it from the State House grounds. Instead of everybody saying, man, it's really bad right now, that flag, now I think it really needs to go. Instead of doing that, they fought against it, that 2/3 majority. And you think I'm getting ready to rock with them? No, I'm rocking with the Dems, straight up. When I read the way this red flag and it says enough of that red Republican garbage, okay? For those that don't like it, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Sometimes I get a little wound up. Sometimes my speech is not as tactful or as politically correct as folks would like me to be. But, I'm sorry. I'm born and raised in the project. Sometimes that project stuff just come out. Get over it, okay? For sure. I guess that's why I don't get invited to the party all the time. I ain't mad. I ain't mad at all. Because if the people ain't getting invited, I don't need to be there anyway. Peace. For sure. So the fight, man, they had to fight to get that flag pulled down. And then Nikki Haley running around and taking credit for all these years. That's still all these years after I take the flag. That lady did what she had to do. Or somebody was going to tear this place up. Bottom line. Bottom line, it was getting ready to be on and popping in South Carolina. So, and then the brothers and sisters were ready to let that thing fly. Nikki Haley did what she had to do. Just like when Summy fired Michael Slager. He did what he had to do. You know what would have happened if he had let him just stay there on the job after Faden Santana, my brother, brought that video forward that showed him murdering Walter Scott? You know what would have happened if he wouldn't have terminated him? I'm not going to pat nobody on the back for doing what you have to do. Period. Nikki Haley don't get no credit for that, just like Mayor Summy don't get no credit in the Walter Scott situation, the Slager situation. None whatsoever. Not in my book, at least, By the way, Mayor Summy's a Republican, too, Nikki Haley's a Republican. Yeah. Got selected by the Don, as an ambassador. All right. So it's crazy. When we stop and we think about Republicans in South Carolina, as I said, Mayor Summy is a Republican and a Trump supporter. I said it earlier. He actually endorsed Donald Trump in 2016 before the actual primary, while it was a field of Republicans running for president. Donald Trump came to North Charleston. Mayor Summy sat with him down in a little restaurant and a bar and grill and whatever and endorsed him in his presidency. And I'm not even going to talk about the dealings that was done in North Charleston with Trump's son and Mayor Summy's son. And Mayor Summy's son is a Republican too, okay? Can't rock with him, okay? For sure. And what has he done? 25 years of service. And what has he done to benefit black, brown, and poor people in North Charleston? What exactly has he done in 25 years to benefit black, brown, and poor people in North Charleston? The Republican Mayor Summy. Let's not get this wrong, okay? I think Mayor Summy's a nice guy, But his political ideology is detrimental to my people. And when I say my people, I mean all people of color and poor in my community. It's detrimental. Actions speak louder than words. If it wasn't detrimental, the conditions in the community would be different. Everybody would have had the same shot at the American dream. We wouldn't have failing schools. Not 8 of the worst schools in the state of South Carolina in North Charleston. We would not have that, okay? We would not have gun violence. So 2 out of the last 3 years that was higher than actually per capita than the city of Chicago. We would not have a poverty rate in North Charleston, a city that brings in more revenue than any other city in the entire state. We would not have a poverty level that's 50% higher than the national average. And guess who broke? Who's not prospering? Same black, brown, and poor people. You see, Republican ideology is not about taking care of people. And let's move behind. I just talked about the schools, right? The failing schools. Let's look at it. Let's look at the fact that on our school board, we have admitted Republicans on the school board. And guess who they are? Some of the same ones that the Coalition for Kids paid to have a seat in the last election. Cindy Bond Coates is a Republican. Kate Darby is a Republican. Todd Garrett is a Republican. I'm gonna put this out, and I offer any apologies ahead of time. But if he doesn't like it, I'm really sorry. Eric Mack is a fake Democrat. That's my opinion, and I'm gonna stick to it. Okay, it's my First Amendment right to have my opinion. If you don't like it, get over it. I'm not the politically correct Pastor Dixon. I'm that other guy. Okay, straight up. But that's even on the local side. We have these Republicans that are setting policy and procedure over our children, and they're the same thought process as the ones that are in our South Carolina General Assembly. They don't believe in the stuff that we believe in that's going to help people. They don't believe in that. So we need to stop and take account of. While we're talking about schools, how about Molly Spearman? Molly Spearman is the superintendent of education for South Carolina. A Republican. All right. Come on, somebody. A Republican. You think she really has your best interest at heart, and she believes in everything that the South Carolina General Assembly Republicans believe in? And the others that I've talked about? She's a Republican. She needs to be voted out too, just like Coates and Darby and Garrett and whomever else needs to be voted out at our Charleston County School Board. Need to be voted out. I don't know about Jarita Postlethwaite. I haven't been able to get that information on her yet. She's smooth. She real smooth. But maybe it's somebody out there that will research her. Okay, straight up. Our governor, state governor, Henry McMaster, Republican. Our Attorney General, South Carolina Attorney General, Alan Wilson, Republican. Man, 2/3 majority of our South Carolina House and our South Carolina Senate, Republican. It's crazy. When we look at the national level, at the federal level, our 2 U.S. senators, Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott, Republicans. And they believe in exactly the same thing that I'm talking about the entire General Assembly here believes in, and the Republicans that are at the local level. And I'm supposed to side with that? Man, get out of here. Get out of here. I ain't trying to roll like that. Good to see you, Faye. Late but still on time, that's for sure. It's all good. Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott. And to make it so bad now, that in that same body that they sit in Congress, the upper house, the Senate, the U.S. Senate, right? The U.S. Senate is 2/3 majority Republicans. And the House was 2/3 majority until the last election when the Democrats took over the House, the United States House of Representatives in Congress. But the Senate is still 2/3 majority Republican. So with the House, you know what happened in the House since 2018 when we flipped the House and took control? First time in 25 years there was a gun legislation bill passed in the House. First time in 25 years where gun legislation was passed through the House. Sent it to the Senate, and what happened? Been stalled out ever since because it's a 2/3 majority Senate, Republican Senate. And all those same issues with our General Assembly that the Republican General Assembly in South Carolina stand against, those same issues, they're the same way in the U.S. Senate, in Washington, D.C., in Congress. They're the exact same way. They vote the same way. They vote against quality, affordable health care. They vote against gun legislation. They vote against paying people a decent wage. They vote against quality public education. They're trying to privatize. I mean, it's everything that our General Assembly, they're the mirror of it. Why? Because they're Republicans. I'm drumming this in, right? because this is the Republican ideology. And I ain't trying to feel nobody talking about the Dems this and the Dems that and the Dems the other. I'd rather have a bad Dem than a good Republican any day. Yeah, I said it, but that's me. That's me. And don't think that I don't love them, and don't think I will still associate with them. But when it comes to political ideology, when it comes to representing the people, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. I'm not falling for a banana in the tailpipe. The Republicans are what they are, and they are who they are, and they don't represent. They don't rock like I rock. Period. Because I rock for the people, of the people, by the people, and for the people. And I'm going to continue doing it. And that's why I'm on this live right now. And those who don't like it, please just get over it. Get over it. If my manner of speech, my mannerisms are offensive to you, get over it. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. Seriously. I apologize up front for that, but it's just me. Accept me as I am. I'm not trying to make you into who you might want me to be, or I might want you to be, So don't try to make me into who you might want me to be. It's just that simple. Respect. Straight up. So, I stopped right there at the Congress, right? And like I said in the list before, I'm not here to talk about Trump, okay? Trump do a good enough job for the reasonable mind, the right thinking mind. He does enough of that by himself. I don't need to talk about him. I'm here to talk about those who I just talked about, legislators, but also, and here's the other part about it, for those who voted for Trump and who voted for those in the General Assembly, that 2/3 majority, and for those who voted for Mayor Summey and those who voted for Cindy Coates and Darby and Garrett and all the rest, and all those who voted for them, because you see that's crazy, okay? That's they're just as complicit as those that are doing the dirt. And I guarantee you, them same Republicans, they might not be the ones in office, but they vote those in office. And they don't skip elections. They go to the polls. In 2016, you think the Republicans stayed home and didn't vote for Trump? Or if they disagreed with him, you think they voted for Hillary Rodham Clinton? You think they switched up because they disagreed with him? No. They went and voted for him anyway, whether they agreed or disagreed. Why? Because Republicans get behind their candidate. Like him or not. Agree with him or not. He's a Republican, we going with him. So don't act like the Dems all bad because we stick with Dems. At least we fighting for the right causes. For sure. It makes no sense. And those who voted for Donald Trump, and I say it again, I just said it. Those who voted for Donald Trump 2016, and like I said, I'm not here to beat up Donald Trump. It's them other folk, though. Those that are elected and those who voted for them to be elected. Those who voted for Donald Trump, those who voted for our 2/3 majority Republican General Assembly and continue to do, those who voted for Henry McMaster and Alan Wilson and Molly Spearman and all of those other Republicans in here, those who vote for lower level Republicans, okay, no matter where they are, those folks are just as at fault as those who are in the seats because they put them there. And in a court of law, they would be accessories before and after the fact to the crime of neglect of the people, if that was a legal charge. See, this ain't nothing but real talk here. It's nothing but real talk. They would be accessories before and after the fact. So I want everybody to understand that as I'm getting close to my closing, I got some more closing items I want to talk about as we do. But I want everybody to understand, okay, for those who want to talk about how the Democrats have neglected the black community and all this here, a lot of what has not happened in the black community is because we have Republicans who are in charge in mayor's offices, in city councils, in school boards, in general assemblies, and in Congress that block and make it hard for Democratic representatives who are trying to move the agenda of the people forward. They're blocking it from happening. Okay? Now, let me just say this, okay? And I don't care who's in office, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, as long as we, the people of the United States, sit back and allow it to happen, which that's what we've been doing. So for 20 years, you see, I can't talk about the Dems and what they haven't been doing if I ain't pushed them to do what they're supposed to do. I can't sit back and really talk that much about the Republicans if I have not done everything I can to stop them from. If I have not voted them out. If I have not stood or gone to the General Assembly to try to get them to understand, do the right thing. If I have not gotten in the streets and marched or got in their faces about this thing, about doing right for the people, I'm just as complicit. So to talk about what the Dems doing and the Dems doing that, them doing that, and if we the Dems or we the people ain't doing what we need to do to make sure they're doing what they're doing, we've neglected our duty and we get what we give. If you give nothing, you get nothing. And it's time now to change that. 2020, right now, it's time to change that. You have a chance to register to vote before the 29th. 29th is the last day to register, or excuse me, the 30th is the last day to register in order to vote in the primary election, the presidential primary election, which is on February 28th. Okay. We need to whittle down the field, okay? All of those different candidates, okay, that's running for Democrat to represent the Democrats needs to be whittled down. I don't care whether you like them or not, you know. I'm telling you, the Republicans gonna vote straight up. They even tried to pass measures to say, okay, we're not even gonna have any primaries. Nobody run against Donald Trump because we need Donald Trump to win again. That's some cold stuff. The heck with the democratic process with them. Why? Because they're Republicans, you know, and they're gonna do everything that they can in order to make sure that this guy gets the shot at winning. And I, for one, am gonna do everything I can to make sure that that one shot that he might have gets shot down. Period. So once the primary is over, we need people to go register now so that they go. If you're not registered, go register now so you can vote on February 28th in the primary. Okay, and actually you can early vote or early absentee voting after January 30th, all the way up until the actual election. You can do it by mail. You can mail in. Or you can go over on Headquarters Road and actually vote in person over there. But we need participation in the primary so that you can pick which one of these candidates that are running for the as a Democrat to represent you, that you make it known which one you prefer. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. Do your own research and vote in your best interest, for sure. Don't vote according to the way the status quo votes, please. Do your own research and decide which is the best candidate that you want to vote for. I know who I'm standing for and with. You have to do the same thing. But after the primary, yes, we're going to continue to raise Cain about these issues, but we have to make sure, because we have our state seats up for grabs also in November, and we have our federal seats. Lindsey Graham we can oust Lindsey Graham in this election with Jamie Harrison. Yes, I'm rocking with Jamie 100%, no matter what happened in the past. This is for the people. I know what Lindsey's not going to do for the people. And I know what Jamie, at least I got a possibility that he's going to do for the people. And I'm not going to let him forget about doing for the people. And I don't think I'll have to remind him. Straight up. Straight up. You know. So I don't know if y'all feel me or understand me, but that's the primary. So the general election is in November, the first week in November. I think it's November 5th, okay? So we need to be gearing up to make sure that once the primary is over and one candidate has been chosen to represent the Democratic Party, because as I've seen, I haven't seen any Green Party or anybody else running in this race. Once that one candidate, no matter who it is and no matter who you supported prior to the primary, once that one candidate has been established by popular vote, get behind that one candidate. Get behind that one. Now, if you are Bernie and Biden wins, the Burners need to get behind Biden. If you are a Biden person and Bernie wins, the Biden people need to get behind Bernie. If you're a Bernie and a Biden or a Warren person or a Klobuchar person or a Buttigieg person and Steyer wins, you need to get behind that person. If that person if Steyer wins the primary. There's no in between on this thing, and we need to do this without fail. Okay, please, people. This is about winning for the people, and we can say about what the Democrats haven't done, but let's see what happens when we put them in office and give them control over our General Assembly, control over our school districts, control over our cities, control over our Congress. Let's see what they do, and then let's mobilize to make sure that they're doing exactly what we need for them to do. Ain't nobody got time for this. What's up, Auntie? Good seeing you, okay? Ain't nobody got time for this, okay? So please, get registered and let's get ready to vote. Okay. Now, in closing, I just want to make a couple of comments. Earlier today, my good friend and my other brother in the struggle made a comment about the pre-filed bills that the Democrats have on the table, and I had to respond that it's not relevant to this conversation at all. He mentioned some bills that were pre-filed by Democratic legislators for the spring of 2020 session, the session we're in right now, that he said may or may not benefit our community. Okay, but the bottom line is this. Okay, let me just say this, briefly. The bottom line is this: I don't even have to look at anything to know that not one single Republican, 80 of them in the South Carolina House and 27 in the South Carolina Senate, for a total of 107 out of 170 legislators, not one of them has pre-filed a bill or will support a pre-filed bill done by a Democrat that will provide quality health care for everyone, that would strengthen gun laws, that will end the cycle of domestic violence, that will provide quality public education, that will pay people what they deserve on their jobs, or give them the right to form unions, that will ensure women's rights, that will ensure LGBTQ rights, and will protect our environment. Not one of the Republicans has filed those bills. So whatever the Democrats put on the board, on the table, I'm going to pat them on the back. It might not be enough, but that's my job now, and the people's job now, to make sure that there's more. But I sure enough ain't got to worry about no Republicans being there, because they don't file them bills. Our lives don't matter. The people's lives don't matter. And they've proven it consistently, and the data supports it when we look at South Carolina. Last in everything that we should be first in, and first in everything we should be last in. The data supports that their job of being of the people, by the people, and for the people has been compromised by whatever reason, and they are not working in our best interest. So again, I'll take a bad Democrat over a good Republican any day. But that's me, okay? Y'all ain't got to do like me. And the other side of that coin is I saw that my good brother, he had a thing about, folks had been saying, because of his conversation. Please, all I can say is, man, respect the brother for his conversation. I'm going to ask that of everyone, because I respect him and his decisions to make. And I don't have to mention the name in this. I think many of you probably know. But respect him for his position, okay? He has a right to have that position. But there's also consequences and repercussions for taking that position. And what was so amazing was this week on Steve Harvey Morning Show, right? Nephew Tommy did a skit, and they reran it on Saturday. They did, it's called what it's called, Nephew Tommy's prank phone call, right? So he did a thing where he called a person, a prank that he did. He called the person, and he impersonated. He acted like the prank was he was a phone canvasser for Donald Trump, and he contacted the brother, talking about getting the brother's support for Donald Trump. And it was so funny because the conversation, it hit all the talking points that I know the Republicans use about supporting Donald Trump. But the brother was like, man, I ain't having that. I can't cuss like the brother was cussing, but the brother was cussing up. And one of the parts came in that the brother said, man, how much they paid you to do this? How much, what kind of check did you get to do this? You done sold us out. So I say that to say that when you take that position of supporting a white supremacist like Donald Trump, or the policies, or even if it looks like you're supporting the policies that he does, when black folks respond in that manner that it looks like you're a sellout, well, that's a consequence that you ain't gonna get around. I'm really sorry. I wish it was that way. And again, I will say, respect the brother for what he is doing and expressing his own ideas and opinions, and respect that. But don't think it ain't gonna be no backlash from the community on that. You know, so that brother, that was a random phone call by nephew Tommy impersonating a Donald Trump canvasser, phone canvasser, and that brother answered the phone. And once he found out what this whole thing was about, boy, it was on and popping. That brother said, "Man, you out your darn mind. How much they done paid you to do this? You know, to stand." He said, "Are you that one brother that be standing behind Donald Trump in when they be taking the pictures? Are you that one brother?" You know, but that's the reality of it. You know, so I wish that it wasn't that people would think that way, but just that people will do that because it just appears that that's the motivation. I'm not saying that it is the motivation. I would hope, and I do believe in my brother that that he's a good brother. But for those out here who might be a little deterred by this conversation or upset by his conversation, just understand that we have to respect the fact that everybody's entitled to believe what they want and to express what they want, especially in this media we call social media. Okay, but that's why I came on tonight. That's exactly why I came on tonight and wanted to drop this knowledge, okay? Some will hear and reject. Some will hear and receive it. These are my opinions. This is how I feel about our Republicans. Do I love them? Absolutely. Will I meet them and have a conversation? Absolutely. I don't think we'll ever just go out and just kick it like that, But I mean, I have no problem with that. I spoke with the Republican Citadel Society president and to the entire Republican Citadel Society when Steve Bannon came here in the aftermath of it. Did it help? I don't know. But it's because I'm impartial in that. But I do know I didn't go there to try to convince them to be Democrats. They should be the best Republicans they can, but I don't have to agree with what they do based on the issues that I've talked about tonight. And until the Republican Party turns this thing around, now I could go into that history about Democrats originally, had the ideology of the Republicans, and the Republicans originally they were the Democrats of the past. We can get into that too. I could spend a couple of minutes on that, but I'm not going to. Because it's irrelevant. When folks toss that up, okay, tell them, okay, all right, great. What's happening right now? Why is it they won't pass legislation that's going to end gun violence, help end gun violence? Why is it they won't fight for quality public education? Why is it that they won't try to fight for affordable health care and quit talking about Barack Obama, somebody that spent 8 years in the office and never had one scandal, Quit talking about him, Let's get off them talking points that take us away from focusing on the issues. And the issues are Republicans in this dispensation of time, and I hope somewhere in the near future they come to their non-senses. But in this dispensation of time, they are not of the people, by the people, and for the people. The data supports it, their actions support it, and they prove it every day by what they don't do for the people and what they do for themselves and for those who happen to be in certain corporate positions. Okay? So please, alrighty. Folks, I'm going to call that an end for the night. It's a little bit over an hour of actual running off at the mouth. I hope I haven't bored anybody and that everybody has a chance to soak some of this in. Make your own decisions on it, okay? I'm just dropping knowledge. I'm just giving you what it takes in order to make an informed decision. If you want to rock with the Republicans, that's on you. God bless you, I can't do it. That's not me, and I'm not going to do it, And for all of my brothers that are running for office right now, those who supported me and those who didn't, I'm with you because it's time to flip this thing. Crystal Matthews, you my representative, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you get back in office. Jamie Harrison, I'm going to do everything I can to get you back in office. Ben Poe, I'm going to do everything that I can to get you in office over Scarlett Wilson. That's for sure. Scarlett got to go. And for all of the rest of those who are running for office that I rock with, straight up, I'm going to fight for you, For those who didn't support me last year, God bless you too. It's not going to stop me from supporting you for re-election now because we need Dems for the people. And I'm just going to let you know, I'm mobilizing people right now as the coalition to make sure that when we do win, the people are going to be there to ensure that you're doing what you need to be doing for the people. We ain't going to have no blue-red folks in there. Not at all. It's time for change, and it's time for the people to rise. Joe Cunningham, I'm rocking with you also. You know that, okay? So, I want you to all just continue to hang on in there. Do your research, get people registered, and get them to the polls on February 28th. Early absentee voting between the last day of this month and February 28th. Look on the scvotes.org website, and it'll show you whether you're registered. You can actually register there. If you have a South Carolina driver's license or a South Carolina ID card, you can actually register to vote there. But the registration is the first step. The real step happens when you go cast that vote. You gotta cast that vote, okay? So, let's do this, people. Let's do this. I really, really love all of you all. You all are just amazing. And, we're going to keep fighting the good fight until the people win. Because until the people win, none of us win. Until the people win, none of us win. And it's too many of us who walking around with our backs bent. And they've been riding our backs for far too long. It's time for us to come up. And as long as I have the breath of life in me, you can believe that I'm going to fight in order for us to come up. We're coming up there with Taisha and some of the other folks up in Walterboro in order to make sure we're getting organized there. They have many of the same issues with school boards and police department, law enforcement, and city councils and things like that right in Walterboro. Same issues that we run into right here. Orangeburg the same way, So let's chop it up and let's turn it up. And let's get this job done, all right? Of the people, by the people, and for the people. And this is Pastor Dixon, and I live to live up to that mantra. Y'all take care. I love y'all. Y'all take care. We'll talk soon. Peace.